Welcome to this explainer. You know, we spend so much time obsessing over the privacy of our smartphones and our laptops, right? But we're completely overlooking the one single device sitting in our house right now, just blinking away, that sees absolutely everything we do online. It is the silent watchman of your digital life. And honestly, what it knows about you might just blow your mind. I mean, think about this for a second. What if that unassuming plastic box in the corner of your living room knows exactly when you go to sleep and exactly when you wake up? I am not talking about your phone. I am certainly not talking about a smartwatch tracking your heart rate. I'm talking about your Wi-Fi router. The exact same little box that happily beams the internet to your couch is also quietly collecting an enormous amount of information about your daily routines. The sheer scale of what this device observes is staggering. It sees every website you visit. It registers every single device in your house. It notes the exact minute you pick up your phone in the morning to check the news, and it knows the exact second your smart TV turns off at night. How? Because it sees the sudden, dramatic drop in streaming data packets. It is collecting all of this, and in some cases it's sending diagnostic or network data far beyond the walls of your home. It sounds like a spy thriller, right? But stick with me here because I'm going to show you the actual proof. Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the Silent Network Observer. To really understand this, we have to fundamentally change how we view the Wi-Fi router. We need to stop seeing it as just this magical box that gives us Netflix and start seeing it for what it's functionally designed to be. Imagine your router as a digital toll booth on a super busy highway. Every single internet-connected device in your house is a car, and absolutely every car has to pass through this one mandatory checkpoint. Your laptop, your phone, the security camera, none of them can hit the internet highway without first stopping at this central hub and essentially presenting a digital ID badge, announcing its exact IP address and its destination. Now, here is where we have to distinguish between the actual contents of your messages and what we call metadata. Our toll booth might not be able to look inside the car, right? Because your data is encrypted like an HTTPS web page or a secure text message. It doesn't know what you're actually saying. But look at what it does know. It knows where the car came from, where it's going, how often it makes the trip, and at what precise time. This metadata is incredibly revealing. For example, if a car leaves your house for the local hospital's network at 3 a.m. every single night, the toll booth doesn't need to look inside the trunk to know something important is happening. That is the power of metadata. Which brings us to Section 2, Proof in the Logs. Let's look at the actual evidence and see how this builds into a highly detailed profile of your life, because you can actually see this toll booth in action for yourself. If you opened your router's admin page right now and checked the logs, this is what you'd see. You'll see precise connection times. You'll see specific device names like John's iPhone. You'll see local IP addresses and DNS requests, which are basically just the domain names you were looking up. You'll see timestamps mapping exactly when John's iPhone queried Netflix.com or bank.com. This isn't some hacker infiltrating your system. This is completely normal functionality. The router literally has to see everything passing through it to do its job. It is logging your digital life minute by minute. All right, Section 3, where does the data go? So the crucial point here is figuring out who else gets to see this highly detailed toll booth log. Because if the data just stayed on the little plastic box, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But a lot of modern routers connect directly to cloud services. Manufacturers sometimes collect analytics, and internet service providers, or ISPs, often provide routers that they can manage remotely. That means someone outside your home can view performance data or monitor your network's health. But look, even if your router never sends a single byte of analytics back to manufacturer, your ISP still sees a massive amount of metadata. They can see exactly when you're online, how much data you're downloading, and if your DNS traffic isn't encrypted, they can see the exact domain names you're visiting. They see that your IP address queries a smart crib monitor at 9 p.m. every night and a coffee maker app at 6 a.m. Researchers have proven that just looking at these daily browsing patterns reveals your habits, your routines, and your deepest interests. Let's move to Section 4, the smart home problem. We really need to talk about how modern convenience is just exponentially increasing the amount of data flowing through your network. A decade ago, you maybe had a family computer and a couple of phones. Today, the landscape is totally different. Welcome to the constant digital conversation. Just look at this ecosystem. Smart thermostats adjusting the temperature, robot vacuums mapping out your floor plan, security cameras watching the yard, and doorbells pinging servers to say they're online. Smart fridges and voice assistants constantly listening for commands, while smart lights check for firmware updates. Every single one of these devices is talking to servers on the internet. They are chattering away in the background all day and all night. And here is the truly surprising fact. These devices are communicating hundreds of times every single day, even when your house is completely empty. Your router is just sitting there, observing this massive, endless digital conversation. The smarter your home gets, the more intricate and detailed the information flowing through your router becomes. And that's without you ever lifting a finger or opening a web browser. Let's pivot to Section 5, Myths and Hackers. Let's talk threats for a second and clear up a major misconception about digital surveillance. Because when people think about being spied on in their own home, their imagination usually goes to the wrong place entirely. The biggest myth out there is that your phone is secretly turning on its microphone and listening to your conversations just to serve you ads. But the reality is much more mundane and honestly way more valuable. Your router is quietly recording patterns and managing connections. Creating metadata is far more efficient than recording audio. Think about it. Why listen to hours of dead silence to figure out what you like when your router's metadata already shows exactly what websites you visit, what smart devices you buy, and what time you turn your lights off? And this treasure trove of metadata makes your router a prime target. Because routers are often the most forgotten computer in the house, they're absolutely riddled with vulnerabilities. People leave them running outdated firmware, they use incredibly weak default passwords, the ones like admin123 or literally password printed right on a sticker on the bottom of the box. They leave remote administration turned on when they don't even need it. If an attacker leverages these known security flaws to gain control of your router, they can monitor your traffic, tweak your settings, and even redirect you to fake websites. It happens all the time. Finally, Section 6, Securing Your Digital Tool Booth. Fortunately, we don't have to just sit here and accept this. We can lock down this digital toll booth with a few highly effective actions. Let's walk through a quick security checklist together. First, log in and change that default admin password right now to something long and complex so hackers can't discuss it. Second, install the latest firmware updates. This patches the exact flaws attackers use to sneak in. Third, turn off remote administration unless you genuinely, absolutely need to manage your network from outside the house. Fourth, make sure your Wi-Fi is using WPA3 security or at least WPA2. And please, disable WPS. It's a widely known weak point that can be easily cracked. Finally, if your router supports it, turn on encrypted DNS to hide your domain lookups from your ISP. These simple steps will dramatically reduce your risk. If there is one core takeaway from our explainer today, it's this. The spying isn't about reading your emails. It's not about looking at your personal messages. It's about observing your patterns. It's about learning exactly how you live minute by minute, device by device. Metadata paints a complete and shockingly accurate picture of your life. Your router observes almost everything that enters and leaves your home, because that is literally its job. But the most dangerous device might just be the one you never think to secure. So I want to leave you with this final provocative question. Now that you know your router sees everything, who else is accessing that information? Is it the manufacturer, your internet service provider, hackers, or is it only you? The answer depends entirely on how well you secure that blinking little box in the corner of your room. Stay curious, go update those router passwords, and I'll catch you next time.